everybody and welcome to a brand new vlog. This video is going to be a little bit different. It's very close to us being 1 year in the house now. So we thought we'll do a little recap, talk about our first year here in Bulgaria, see how Kirill feels, as obviously he's the newest to the country and everything.
I'm the foreigner.
You're the foreigner, to put it that way. Hopefully anyone who's considering moving here or just considering to moving to the countryside, that will be helpful, our honest opinion, how we found it. And also to get to know us a bit. Yeah, mommy. You gonna say hi?
See, wave.
If you're new to the channel, I think there are quite a few people that are new. My name is Nelly, this is my husband Kirill and Kai.
There's a dog in the back, he's called Max, but he's tied up because he's gonna jump up ours.
Yeah, he'll literally jump on your head.
He's the new addition to the family. Also,
Oreo,
the cat, and chickens. So, there's chickens, dogs and cats.
We moved from the UK last year, hoping to purchase a home in the countryside here, which I know a lot of people find an interesting choice. I'm actually Bulgarian. I moved to the UK when I was 18 for university. I studied my bachelor's, my master's there. We met just before I was about to start my master's actually. House purchasing journey started in the UK actually. For the longest time we thought we were going to buy in the UK. For 4 years we were looking. We had really bad luck. We had houses falling through right before exchanging contracts, and we were kind of like stuck in a rut really. And I remember you always used to joke, oh, like, let's just move to Bulgaria. And at the time I only took it as a joke. I just never thought we would ever move to Bulgaria. And then the whole idea came about from my dad actually. There was this opportunity to buy a ranch in Plovdiv. And this kind of sprung this whole idea of, wow, that's actually be amazing. So that's kind of what gave us the idea to even think about it. We were still quite like unsure until I think Kai. I think that's what kind of pushed us to do it. When he came along, we really thought about what childhood we want to give him. We wanted him to have nice weather, we wanted him to be outside, to just have a free childhood, kind of like the ones we've had when we were young. And yeah, we just wanted to be more outside. We wanted to have a big garden, plant stuff. We've always been quite passionate about farming. I mean, your family has farming land in South America.
Yeah, so I grew up on, I want to say a farm, but I grew up with having land, having cows, having animals, so that was like normal to me. And when this opportunity came up to buy the ranch in Plovdiv, we sort of said, yeah, let's go. But obviously, we're not in Plovdiv.
That's a long story. That's another thing that fell through. So it was Kai really once he was born one day, and I always waited I wanted you to kind of push for it, because I knew that for me it's going to be much easier transition. I'm Bulgarian, it's not a massive shock. I speak the language and everything. My family is over here, so for me it was very important that you push for it and say like, okay, let's move, because I wanted to be sure that you do want to do it. One day you were just Kai was a few months old, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think we moved when he was just under 4 months or 3 months. Or was it like 3 months? 5 months, okay, 5 months. He moved when he was about 5 months.
Yeah.
But we actually, before we like got this house that we're in now, we lived in Bulgaria for a couple of months before we bought this.
Yeah, hoping to get the property in Plovdiv. Then that had lots of legal issues. The reason why we had the budget to possibly get that was because of the legal issues, and because a family member owned a part of it, so we were hoping to get that part on a really good price and then buy the other one. But that kind of fell through. My dad's wife, she said something to me that evening when I was quite frustrated that we missed yet another property, and she said to me something that stuck up, and is probably the reason why we found this house. She said, I think you're not getting your house because you're not sure of what you want yet. And I really thought about this actually. That evening I was like, right, let me look at properties just on my own accord, see what I like. And I saw beautiful house, which is not far from us. I completely fell in love. It was reserved already, so it was gone. And of this house, I found this one. Now, the compromise that we've had to do with this one is quite far from our family. Originally we were looking at Plovdiv, somewhere that's like an hour away from Sofia. We love Plovdiv as a city as well. I have family there, my granddad lives there. He's got a house in the old town and we absolutely love it. But this house on our budget we could not afford in Plovdiv or near Sofia. The properties there are very, very expensive. A property like this with land, and we did want land. We wanted to be able to plant stuff. We wanted to have a big garden, and we wanted enough space so that we can grow into the house and do stuff to it. And all the within our budget, all the properties that are near Plovdiv, it would just be quite small really and not what we wanted. So location was kind of a compromise that we have to do, but the plus side is that we're closer to the seaside. So that's something Kirill kind of secretly wanted, to be close to the seaside, to be able to go for a day, and we're not far away from Varna. We're like an hour and a bit away, so usually we would just leave in the morning, go there, spend the day or even spend the weekend and then come back. And eventually our dream is to even get a little apartment, like a studio apartment there, so we can spend the weekend there. But anyway, it happened very, very quickly, and I honestly think it was just meant to be. I think now, looking back at all those properties, I was so frustrated and crying over. The sun's come out, which is great. I see why they didn't work out, but it's just one of those things you can kind of, you need to keep believing and then picturing the house you want, and it will show up.
Back.
Is that all? Everything I said, is that how you feel about it as well?
Yes.
Without all the sobby bits, because I am the emotional optimist and Will is the realist. Right, so I think we talked about this morning about how we got the house and a little bit about us, and now
I'm going to do pros and cons. My pros and cons of being here in Bulgaria. Obviously we have joint pros and cons as well. And
I think they'll be the same.
Yeah, probably the same.
The question is, you are from Great Britain, aren't you? Tell us what attracted you to Bulgaria. I have heard that some English people come to Bulgaria to retire, but it's unusual to see a young family here, especially in the rural areas. So, yes, we are from, well, I'm not originally, but I lived there for 12 years, but you are. So what attracted us to Bulgaria? Well, I guess just the convenience of the fact that I'm Bulgarian and we do have a family. I speak the language, so it's a bit easier. We have considered Portugal before as well. It's really nice there, but for us will be a completely different, like, neutral ground. Not speaking the language, not having any family and support there. So I think it was the most convenient country of the sort where we can buy
where we could afford to buy a property.
Yeah, without mortgage.
The reason we was looking at Portugal as well, it's similar to here, the weather, and we would be able to sort of buy property there. But the downsides of there is that we don't speak the language, we don't speak Portuguese, and it'll be like brand new. We don't have any sort of help. Get off my neck.
It'd be nice for Kai to grow up here as well, like the culture, the language. It's much easier for him to learn Bulgarian that way.
Yeah.
When we were in the UK in the beginning, when he was quite small, but I found it quite weird speaking Bulgarian to him that much, because he was the only one there speaking Bulgarian. Here he's learned kind of parallel both English and Bulgarian. He understands them both. Max, if you don't come, you just knocked your head out. It's just the convenience, the weather, so the climate, being able to be mortgage free, which would not be a thing in the UK.
It would in 25 years, opposed to 30 years, opposed to 1 year. We're not area locked on where we lived, but one of my things was being able to get to a hospital and sort of a major city and the airport for me to get back to the UK for work.
We did research school for Kai, even like a big boys school. After that, we're quite close to a town where you got like all the shops and everything is like a 10-minute drive. It's not a very small village. You actually get quite a few shops here.
Yeah, it's very populated
It's-
village.
yeah.
And we have quite a mixture of Bulgarian and English in the village as well, which is good for me. The person who's been helping me with the house, he's an English guy. So he's been teaching me a lot, but yeah, it's good. It's populated. There's kids here. There's nurseries here. There's like shops and stuff here as well for us.
I do get that, especially for Bulgarians, like for a young couple like us to, or family, to live in a village, it's a little bit different. I do get a lot of like looks and questions like, what are you doing here? Why here? And I guess it comes down to just what we like doing and what we're interested in. Just having a garden, be able to plant stuff, having Kai around running after chickens and just making this as beautiful as it could be. We have so much we want to do to it. We have the whole barn we want to create into a beautiful house. So much we want to plant and just make it, yeah, like a really nice spot. And I think a lot of people ask like, oh, aren't you bored? You're in the middle of nowhere. But we've had so much time going to coffee shops and restaurants and all of that. Right now we just have so much to do here that we want to achieve.
It's impossible to be bored here because we have so much we need to do.
Constantly. Yeah,
Like,
days here goes like, it just goes so quickly because there's always something you want to do, like in the garden and stuff, and it's really nice for Kai. I find parenting easier as well. We're not constantly thinking of where to go, how to entertain him. Like if we were in Sofia, it was like every weekend, or shall we go to the park, shall we go for brunch there, go there. And whether here we're just doing stuff around the garden, he's happy running around after the chickens, chasing them, planting. He copies everything you do, which is so sweet to see. And I think it's just perfect for little kids.
That answers that question. It's a very long-winded
Very
answer.
long-winded
We got a lot of questions that.
And again, when we do want to go out somewhere, it's close. We like going to Varna. That's our spot. If we have a weekend where we just want to get away, and Villiktornovo, yeah, we just go there for the day. Go to the sea gardens. There's like lots of nice soft place for Kai and stuff. So if we do want to do that, then again there are places close by where we can do that as well.
And there is kids in the village that he plays with.
Yeah, he had a little play date the other day. It was the cutest thing.
For his development.
How did you find living in Bulgaria then the past year?
Yeah, it's fine. It's not any different to what I would have been doing in the UK anyway.
Yeah.
So
That's something you kind of need to have set up to have this
Yeah.
lifestyle, isn't it?
yeah, so
remote
prior
jobs.
to moving here, one sort of big thing for me and for us is making sure we have a sort of stable income. I work online, I work in sales, so it doesn't really matter too much where I'm based. Obviously I have to go back to the UK now and again, but my base is out here in Bulgaria. So yeah,
As long as you have Wi-Fi.
yeah, as long as I have Wi-Fi, it's fine. So the transition was relatively easy, and everything else that comes with it is sort of a byproduct. Being able to have land and doing the stuff I enjoy outside, it's quite good. So it's not really that much different.
How have you found the language then? Sorry, I interrupted you there, but I think
Language-wise, I learn from Kai learning. So I learn from Nell speaking to Kai in Bulgarian. So I'll pick up
Quite good,
words
actually.
and stuff. But if you ask me to form like an actual sentence, I probably can't.
you do though. You do short.
Yeah, I do
sentences
short
that-
sentences,
yeah.
but not very long sentences. I understand more than I can speak. I know a lot of words, but I can't put all of them together in a cohesive sentence like I'm speaking in English.
Yeah, but that would obviously.
It will
you've
come.
been on
I
it.
understand more than I can speak.
But it's really funny because for some people they learn, the basic conversations or shop and stuff. You can count, like animals. He knows all like the baby words. But I think it's really good, and pronunciation as well. Everyone's really impressed with you. And Bulgarian is not an easy language.
difficult.
Let's be like every time I try to explain to someone something, I'm like, wow, it's not simple, is it? But
So how I found living in Bulgaria? Yeah, fine. It's nothing different than that I would be doing in the UK, apart from doing the fun stuff.
so we can go into the pros and cons, I guess. And we can talk about how actually, but I guess that's one of the like pros or cons, how cheap it is here.
I think personally there's a lot of misleading information saying that Bulgaria is like really cheap. Yes, it is cheap for certain things.
Yeah.
Getting on the property ladder, buying a house, I think 80% of Bulgarians own their houses. There's like a statistic show that opposed to the UK where a lot of people rent. It's very difficult to save up a lot of money to own your house, not like paying off a mortgage, but actually outright own your house. And
even getting a mortgage is hard.
yeah, even getting a mortgage is hard.
It's hard for people to get a deposit together.
Yeah, it's easier to get on the property ladder, but that being said, you still have to invest into that house. Like for example, our house, it wasn't cheap, but we're still investing into what we wanted to.
But it was also livable, I think.
Yeah. It's livable. But for a lot of people who's like coming to buy a house here,
it'll be cheaper, but you need
it'll be cheaper because a lot of people we see on these moving from the UK to Bulgaria buy like the derelict houses, so like maybe 10,000 levs. It's not much really.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Then you have to add a chunk to it.
Yeah, add a lot more to get it to sort of livable standards. But yeah.
If you have the skills, then that's amazing. If you have the skills to do.
How cheap Bulgaria is.
Yeah.
Yes, it's cheap, but it's not cheap. Food shop compared to the UK. The UK is cheaper, I think. Bulgaria is a lot more expensive for like general food shopping. Even baby stuff here, like nappies, clothes and all that sort of stuff, is more expensive.
What I found the most expensive is food.
Yeah, food is very expensive.
The amount of fish, the price of fish, mind blown.
When we went to Varna for a meal out at a restaurant, we bought like just like normal like fish and stuff. The price for a restaurant fish, them cooking it for you, is cheaper than buying it in the shop. Maybe we're going to the wrong shops, but
no, we're not. Groceries here are expensive.
So yeah,
restaurants
that's a
cheaper.
con. I'll say that's a con. That's the price of food shop. It's con for like a Bulgarian person who's living here and earning in levs. How they like sort of survive on the sort of the wages they have, because the average wages here compared to like the food shop and bills is quite expensive. So for someone coming in from the UK, I see a lot of people coming from the UK, they're pensioners and they're on like sort of pensions. Yes, it is cheaper, but for the average Bulgarian living here, working, it's quite expensive. And that's where the miscommunication sort of comes in, I think.
I feel like here you save money on taxes. If you compare our property tax was 20 levs for the year compared to council tax.
And that's two properties.
That's two
lots.
Yeah, that's two lots, because that's like two separate lots that we bought together, but before there were two separate ones. Compared to the amount of money we used to pay on council tax. So you save a massive chunk, so it's still cheaper living here, I think.
Yeah.
For us at the moment, not quite, because this property was a bit out of budget, so we took a small loan out that we're hoping to pay off this year. So now we're kind of pushing to pay it off, and I think from next year, the relax will kick in, and we'll like kind of celebrate. We need to celebrate, cheers, on being mortgage free and not having to pay any mortgage, any loan, any rent or anything. And we own our car as well.
Yeah, we paid the car off this year.
Yeah, so I think that was one of the things we wanted, is to kind of be a bit more free. Being able to spend more time with Kai and not having like being tied into a mortgage and paying constantly. So groceries are more expensive, certain shopping is more expensive. I think going out to restaurants, do you think it's cheaper or more expensive?
I think it could be cheaper, depending on where you go.
Pros, no mortgage.
Yeah, no mortgage.
Saving on certain
freedom,
expenses.
I guess. Financial freedom.
More sunshine. Well, that's mine at least.
More sunshine.
That's one thing that I just struggled in the UK, to be honest.
For a pro for me, yeah. Being able to sort of use the land and utilize the land and have food from our own land
Yeah.
It's
I've got some of my cons. Well, things that kind of get to me is the rubbish situation in certain areas that in Bulgaria are not very developed. Kind of the infrastructure. So let's say like the bins, rubbish, and that's not just in a village. I guess in the village it could be a little bit worse in certain areas, but even in Sofia you see bins overfilled with rubbish. People are not really caring about that type of stuff. You get a lot of people saying like there's no point, why pick up this rubbish here, and there's no point someone else gonna throw something else on top of it. And really trying to kind of do our bit. We do little walks around the village, and I'm determined to grab a bag and just collect rubbish a little bit. As that's something that gets to me. I know that maybe for someone that's such a small thing, but just don't throw it on the grass, people. Put it in the bin. And then they don't collect the bins. That's another problem. They don't collect them as often, but
it's too
trying to find.
It's the bins is always overflowing, and if you live in like I don't want to say rural Bulgaria, we're not very rural, but we're in a village. But there's always animals. There's dogs, cats, and they'll go look for food. And when they go into the bins, they'll just pull everything out, and there's rubbish everywhere.
We've had kind of conversations with the mayor and stuff like that. They're trying to do their best to fix stuff like that. I think now this month's been worse because they're doing the budgets, and apparently that takes a very long time. So for me, that's something, landfill across the whole Bulgaria. Such beautiful nature. I think it just something needs to be done to be cleaner. We've actually been quite lucky with neighbours, and I know this is probably getting way too long, but that's another thing that we've been really lucky with, because with animals and a big house like that, you can't leave. You can't just leave. We don't have, my family is quite far away and they're all working as well. So our neighbours that are quite like close by, they help us out when we're away, which is incredible. And obviously we help each other, we help them as well. We've kind of grown very close, but not having them would be difficult. Us traveling like to the UK or going to the seaside or to Sofia, so we've been quite lucky with that as well. Having someone that we trust to look after the animals, the chickens. They even lit the fire for us when we were away in the UK because it was freezing and Oreo was cold. So that kind of people. I think that's it. That's pros and cons.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of, if you have any questions, I feel like we were blabbing on, but I would have liked to see a video like that when we were thinking of moving, so hopefully that's helpful.
We can do another one, so if anyone wants like a bit more or had a specific question,
like a Q&A.
We can do like a Q&A video where you
love that.
yeah,
love
like,
sit
you
down
can do
videos.
Q&A. Disclaimer, I do not like sitting down and talking to a camera, it's very weird.
That's why he usually looks grumpy. He's not grumpy, right? You're not grumpy. You're happy.
Yes. One last con for me, or someone anyone who sort of moving from the UK, get used to the stairs. The stairs at first it used to bother me. Now it doesn't really bother me too much. Like it's I think it's important. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah. People here stare.
Yeah.
Always, and for us it's multiplied a billion because we're not a very
we're not typical couple.
Not a very typical couple, a family.
But everyone's super nice. Everyone that we've met so far has been really nice. It's not like a it's not like a sort of dangerous thing. It's like something new and like they stare. But in the beginning, it really bothered me. Now, not so much. It's fine.
If you finished this whole video, we need to buy you a coffee because it was long. I cannot believe we were blabbing on for such a long time, so I've tried to cut it as short as possible so it makes sense. I do apologize. I hope it's not too boring and it's helpful in some way at least. Next video, I wanted to do this one, but in next one I'll talk to you about our plans for this year and what we would like to achieve with the house and the garden and everything. We'll start back on with the renovations and gardening and exciting stuff. So I'll see you in the next video.